And even in my own career, I've kind of like realized that in my last fight, I shied away from it and shied away from what makes me me. I think humans have a natural tendency to fight. It's in our instinct, and you have to like obey that instinct a little bit. And sometimes with so much trying to reinvent myself, sometimes I get away from that a little bit. And I think that's what I did in that last fight. Fighting to me isn't necessarily about who can punch, kick, and in the wrestling or anything, any of the techniques. It's a little bit more. It's once you get tired, once you don't know what you're doing, once you get that fucking overwhelming amount of stress. Okay, now what are you gonna do? Yeah. Are you gonna stay true to yourself, or are you gonna do what I did in my last fight at least, and I'm just, I know myself, so I'm just picking on me now. And it's like I didn't stay true to myself. I tried to reinvent the wheel too much, and I was fighting as a southpaw, backing up, and that's just not how I am. I gotta, you gotta stay true to that. If you are somebody who is a great wrestler and can stay on top of the person, you don't even have to take them down. You just have to know how to wrestle. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think what you're saying too about your fight, like sometimes ego sort of gets in the way a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And you're trying to prove something, but it happens to a lot of people. Like I tell my fighters, your goal for fighting is to be as efficient as possible.
Right.
And sometimes you end up in the situation where, like, let's say I was fighting Robert, and Robert's the #1 jiu-jitsu guy in the world. And I may be like, or we'll switch it. He's #2, I'm #1 for the hypothetical. But I'm also an excellent striker. And he has no striking. Now, my strong suit is technically my grappling. But should I grapple with Robert when we're so evenly matched? Yeah. Or should I just stand up and bang with him when he's totally outmatched?
Sure.
And I think a lot of people get sucked into that. Like, I'm going to prove that I'm better at my best skill rather than finding the chink in their armor and knowing like that's where I can.
That's
take
where ego
away.
hurts you.
Yeah.
That's what ego makes you stupid. If ego gives you a drive, it's always a good thing. But when ego makes you dumb, then that's what's actually harming you. And there's a lot of that.
The problem is though that you need that ego a little bit, especially as a fighter. You need that. You can't just be a normal person. You know what I mean? This isn't. And at the end of the day, I look up sometimes in the arena and I'm like, this ain't some normal shit. You know what I mean? Like it's just not. But so you need that little bit of ego to say.
Me and Dave were talking about this. Like we separate the word ego in two. There's a good ego and the bad ego. The bad ego is the one that makes you do stupid. Like, oh, I'm gonna prove to this guy that I'm better grappling than him, and you're just ramming your head through the wall the hard way, right? And then there's the good ego, is what you're describing. It's like, I'm the best guy in the room. You don't have to say it, but like you have to believe it. Like I'm the best guy in this arena. Like I'm the best UFC fighter on the planet. Because you can't be that guy unless you believe it. And if you believe you're the best in the world, you're sort of an egomaniac in a way. But like not in an internalized way. It's like I think like ego's like one of those things that it can go out and you can be the stupid asshole that just makes bad decisions and no one likes. Or you can get that and internalize it, and that's a lot of fuel, man. Because now you can't accept. You can't accept being #2. Like if you're #2 on the mats, and you're okay with that, you're never going to be #1. Like for you to be the #1 guy in the room or in the UFC, you have to truly believe that you are better than everyone else, and be really upset every time you fail to be that #1, right?
Yeah.
So it could be. It really. It's funny. But it can really help you or really harm you.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely you need it. It's just like that's the fight.
Yeah.
That's the fight. When you talk, that's the fight. It ain't the punches and the kicks and all that. That's the fight.
It's like with yourself.
It's just
like one of my favorite.
It's the real. It's like it's cliche as shit, but
one of my favorite quotes from all time. I love this. It's so corny, but like it's so truth. So it's so true to what we're talking about. You ever Karate Kid, first one?
Sure.
Daniel-san's about to quit, like crying to Master Miyagi, and Master Miyagi goes, Daniel-san, it's okay to lose to yourself. No, it's okay to lose to your opponent. It's not okay to lose to yourself.
Yeah.
And there's so much wisdom there. Like it's a corny, but there's so much wisdom saying that it's fine to lose to someone because he was a split second faster than you and beat you to the punch.
Yeah.
But like this fight is the hardest fight, but that's the one you can control. Yeah. You're not in control what your opponent does. You're in control with what you do preparing and moving into the fight.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's probably like trickles over there into everything, really. Like we all have to do that, even without fighting.
Yeah.
You still have to be that same way. And I think the problem is like a lot of people lie to themselves a lot. They don't ever just truly be true with themselves and be upset at themselves. You know, like not even, you know, yeah, there's self-love and all that, but you know, sometimes you gotta be real with you too, you know, and kind of, you know, you can't just, it can't be this participation trophy bullshit all the time. And you can do that with everybody else maybe if, you know, you just don't really give a fuck. But with yourself though, you can't do that. You can't just reward yourself for anything. And I think people do that, you know, people, they get into these long, like, and I've seen it happen over and over with so many people in my family and just in my life in general. It's just like they get into these cycles almost, and it's like they're rewarding their own bad behavior. And it's like, how would you treat somebody that wasn't you? You know what I mean? Like, and you love them and you want them to do good and all that, you know. And I think people don't, you know, people lose sight of that maybe. And like, fighting is a good way to teach you that, because you getting your, you know, you getting your ass beat. But you know, it's still the same thing though, you know.